So let's kick off. So we're here today for the next half hour. We are going to look at how to stop overwhelm and instead focus on what you should be doing. So hopefully that's what you're all expecting to do right now. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to look at how to stop being a reactive firefighter type business owner and instead move to becoming a more strategic chess player type business owner and what that means. We're also going to look at my proven idea overwhelm buster, which is a really easy to use template that I'm going to share with you and that will help you to quickly make decisions on what ideas you should actually be doing, which ones you should be dumping. And then finally, we're going to be looking at the 3 critical things that you must have in place to achieve clarity and focus in your business and generally make running your business easier. So if that sounds good, then let's focus for the next half hour. Now guys, whether you're listening live with me now or whether you're listening back to the recording, you're investing your time, and your time is precious, to watch and learn what I'm going to share with you now for the next half an hour or so. So please, I want you to get the most from this. So that means turn off any distractions, please. So put your phones on silent, or even better, turn them completely off. Take your email, close your email down so you're not looking at that. I know how tempting it is to multitask when you're really busy, but please just focus with me for the next half an hour, and anything else that you've got open on your computer, close it down if you know you're going to be tempted to have a flick through. Grab a pen and paper if you haven't got one to hand already, so you're probably going to want to take some notes on this as well. And get a drink ready as well, so you're not feeling thirsty. Go grab a drink if you want quickly before we kick off. Now, some quick logistics for you. When you're listening to this live, you are on mute, so I can't hear you. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Now, if you have any questions or any comments to make while we're going through the webinar, if you are watching this via your computer or your tablet, hopefully you can see like a control box on the right-hand side of your screen, and there's a little box there for questions. So if you have any comments or questions to make, please pop them in there. I will try my best to look at those as we're going through, and I'll make an effort at the end to look at them as well. And also feel free to email me any questions as well at alison@alisonbradford.com. So let's kick off. So do you ever feel, first of all, a bit like this when it comes to running your business? It's a bit like a firefighter rather than a business owner. So you feel like you're spending your working days putting out your own fires or even other people's fires, your clients' fires. You end up reacting to everyone and everything that comes your way. You're reacting to, you start your day with good intentions, you open up your emails and suddenly you're bombarded with 100 and something emails that all need your attention. Then your phone starts ringing, or you've got voicemails to pick up from clients who suddenly need an urgent piece of work doing, or an urgent appointment making. And all your good intentions just go out the window, and you pick up your hose and you're just putting out those fires. Yeah? And maybe a little bit of praying thrown in as well. So maybe a little bit of, praying that, God, hope everything works okay. I'm working really hard here. So please, God, make this all work out okay. And, praying that your clients pay your bills on time as well, so that you can go and pay your own bills on time. But what if there was a different way of running your business? What if there was an easier way of running your business? One that was a bit more like this. Like a chess player, yeah? So one that felt a bit more strategic, and it means thinking and behaving in that strategic way, like a game of chess. And I don't actually play chess, but I get the gist of what it means, and it's about making every move taking you nearer towards your end objective and your end goal. It's a place where you have your head up and you can see the bigger picture without getting caught up in all the unimportant stuff every day. And it's a place where you feel like you're working on your business as opposed to in it when you're fighting those fires. So you feel in control and on top of everything. How good would that feel to you guys to be more like that chess player type of business owner? So that that gap between those two, that's what I work with my clients to fill, and that's what I'm going to. I can't obviously take you from there from firefighter to chess player in half an hour, but I am going to do my best to start you on that journey right now and share with you some of the top tips and strategies to stop feeling overwhelmed and so reactive and to start feeling back in control of your business. So let me introduce myself in case you don't know me. So my background's quite corporate. Actually started off my career working as an accountant, and then I worked in different senior roles in Vodafone and Swinton Insurance, looking after business change teams and process improvement. Then a number of circumstances led me to set up my own business 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago now, back in 2011. And mainly for me, that was a combination of having young children and therefore not wanting to spend 3 hours or so stuck on the motorway every day, commuting back and forwards to work. And also really just getting fed up of the office politics that you do get in big corporate organisations. So as much as I love being in a commercial world and working in business and helping businesses to thrive, now what I do is take that past experience and work with small businesses. So we don't have any of the politics and I don't have to commute too far. And I work with ambitious and driven business owners who are looking to grow their business and to make more money, but without putting in more and more hours. So let's start looking at sharing some of the tips though that I want to share with you today, okay? And let's start to see how we can take you on that journey to becoming more like a chess player type business owner than that firefighter. So the first thing, and again, if you've got your pen and paper, right, start writing these down now. It's about knowing what's important. Now, unless any of you listening now to this are either a charity or a community interest or a hobby type business, then what is going to be important is going to be consistent, and it's going to be about this. So if you can see the slides on the screen right now, and hopefully you can see it's about the money. That's what's important in your business. And when you're feeling overwhelmed and you've got too much to do, too many people crying out for your attention, you need to bring it back to this. What's important to me? I'm a business. I'm about generating money. What am I doing today that's bringing money into my business? What am I doing this week that's about bringing money into my business? And what am I doing this month that's about bringing money into my business? And they are your priorities. That's what it comes back to. So the next step on our journey to being that chess player, it's about keeping your head up. Now, very often, you probably hear the phrase, or you've probably heard it in the past, about, you've got lots of work to do, just put your head down and get on with it. Yeah? And we do that. We're really busy. We've got our heads down. We're getting on with it. And God, if we get through it all, then it'll be a miracle, but maybe I'll get some success at the end of it. But what happens is when you've got your head down, you're missing the bigger picture. You're getting caught up in the detail. And very often you're getting caught up in that perfection paralysis. Yeah, does that sound familiar at all? Where you keep working on something and working on something until it's absolutely perfect. And, I can't put this out into the world yet because it's not perfect. I can make this better. And so what happens is you continually reworking and not putting stuff out there. So keeping your head up is about being in the helicopter. Yeah. So think of it like that. So you're going up in the helicopter. So imagine your business is like a forest. Yeah. You're familiar with the phrase, you can't see the wood for the trees. And that's what it's like when your head's down. You're there, you're standing in the forest, you're by the trees, you turn and look around, you can't see a lot apart from what's directly in front of you. So when you're in there, then get on that helicopter, take the ride up. When you're up in the helicopter, you can see everything that's going on at a glance. And that's where you need to be in your business. That's where you're becoming more strategic, like a chess player, keeping your head up, seeing the big picture. What next then on our journey to becoming a chess player? It's about knowing who you want to be working with. Yeah? Because being a chess player, being strategic, it's about being targeted. It's about being focused. and it's, all too common when we start up in business, when you start up in business, we are chasing clients, we're not too fussy, let's be honest. Most of you aren't too fussy at the start. Any client is like, yes, I've got a new client, brilliant, and we're not too bothered about whether they're the type of client we want to be working with or not. We're just pleased to have somebody, thank God, who wants to work with us. Yeah? But as you start moving on, and you should be moving out of startup and into that growth stage, then working with anyone and everyone just is not going to be an efficient use of your time. And to be a chess player type business owner, stop feeling like that firefighter. You need to be targeted over who you want to be working with. So you need to know your ideal clients better than you know your best friend. Yeah? And if you don't know who you want to be working with and know that person inside and out better than your best friend, then you've got some work to be doing. You need to know who they are in detail, get a really clear view of them. You need to know what problems they have. You need to know how you're solving their problems. What are they worrying about? What's keeping them awake at night? And how is your business and what you're offering easing those worries? I really can't emphasize this enough. I've seen so many of my clients really move forward when they really spend some time getting clear on who they want to be working with. And if you're sitting there instinctively thinking, oh my God, no, I can't do that because I might miss somebody, I really am happy to work with anyone, then you're going to stay in firefighter mode. Because once you get really specific about who you want to be working with, it makes them so much easier to go and find, and it makes it so much easier for you to go and connect with and to communicate directly with them and to market more effectively to them. So know who you want to be working with, yeah? Put your arm around them. Go and do some research. Go and ask your existing clients more about them to really get a really clear view on who they are and what their problems are. So our next step in being a chess player is learning when to say this. No, as my 7-year-old might say, or no. Now I see time and time and time again, lots of clients coming to me saying they're overwhelmed, they've got too many things on their to-do list, they're being pulled in this direction and that direction, they've got meetings coming out of their ears, calls to be returned. And when we go through it, most of it, to be blunt, is crap. And I'll start going through their list with my pen, scratching things out, saying, no, you don't need to be doing that. Why are you meeting this person? Cancel them. And it's about saying no. So saying no to what isn't important. And we know what's important, right? Going back, money-generating activities. So you need to practice this because, again, people go, oh my God, I can't say no. People won't like me if I start saying no to them. No, it's really not about that. It's really not about, you're running a business. You're not here to get people liking you. And this isn't about being rude either. There's nice ways to say no, believe me. And if you want some ideas on that, then let me know because there's plenty of nice ways to say this. But you need to be saying no to other people's priorities. You need to be saying no to unnecessary meetings that you've got booked in your diary right now. You need to start saying no to other people's dramas. If your clients have got a drama going on, they're trying to get you entangled in, it's time to say no. Keep me out of it, thank you. It's time to start saying no to clients who keep overstepping the boundaries with you, and you know who they are. And you need to start saying no to spending too much time on those time wasters. So if you're spending time on social media throughout the day, then you need to start saying no to that. You need to stop answering your phone whenever it rings as well, just in case it's an important call. And you need to stop behaving in that reactive way, firefighter, and start behaving proactively, that chess player. So stop being in that transactional, detail, small stuff mode. Get up there and be strategic. Learn when to say no. So we've gone through some tips there on how to start moving from being that firefighter reactive to be that more strategic chess player. So take some notes there and start thinking about what you need to start doing now in your business. because we're going to move on now to look at the idea overwhelm buster. It's a catchy title, isn't it? Now, the idea overwhelm buster, what I want you to do right now, while you're listening to this, is get a pen and paper and start to draw this out. Now, if you can see, if you're watching this on your computer or your tablet, you'll be able to see it on the screen. Unfortunately, if you're not and you're just listening to the audio, you're going to have to bear with me as I try and describe it, and I'll just be hoping to God you come out with something that looks like what I'm going to show. So get a pen and paper, and I want you to draw out a 2x2 grid. So 4 boxes, 2 on top and 2 underneath. You know, basically a big square divided into 4, looking like that. In the middle, draw a line for your vertical axis, and then horizontally as well, do a horizontal axis across the middle horizontally. Then what I want you to do is label those axes, okay? So on the horizontal, on the left of your horizontal, label that easy. On the right of your horizontal, label it difficult. And then on your vertical matrix, on the top, pop high, and on the bottom, write low. So hopefully you've got something that looks like I have on my screen now. And then I want you to just pop some numbers in those 4 boxes that you've got. So the top left will be number 1, top right number 2, bottom right number 3, and bottom left number 2 again. So there's 2 number 2s. So what you have now in front of you is a tool to help you prioritize which of your ideas you should be doing and which you should be dumping or at least put on hold. So what you need to do, and you're not going to have time to do this probably now, is list your ideas first of all. So all those brilliant ideas, those bright sparks, you know, that come to you in the middle of the night when you're in the shower, when you're driving to a meeting, oh my God, I've got an amazing idea. I really need to be doing this in my business. This is going to change everything. Brain dump all of those ideas and get them down in a list. Then take all of those and we're going to plot them in this matrix that I've given you here. So for each idea, assess how easy is it to implement. And we're not going to get too scientific here. You know your business, and I'm sure you know it well enough to make a good gut feel here on how easy your ideas are going to be to implement. You know, does it rely on you doing something? Do you need to outsource? Do you need to get some technical help? Do you need to buy some more equipment? How easy is it for you to implement? And then secondly, for each idea, you need to assess how high the benefits are. So is this going to give you a high benefit or a low benefit? Yeah? And then we're going to transpose all of those ideas into this matrix. So you will have in box number 1, in your top left corner, anything that is easy to implement and is going to give you high benefits. And then kind of a diagonal to that, in box number 3, you are going to have anything that is going to be difficult to implement and give you low benefits. So hopefully it's pretty obvious where we need to be focusing here. So anything in box 1 is going to be going onto your to-do list and your plan for the next month or year. Anything in box 3 is the stuff to dump, because if it's difficult to do and it's bringing low benefits, then why the heck would you want to be spending your time and effort focusing on that? So when you're left with your ideas in box number 1, high benefit, easy to implement, those are the things that you can take now and start planning to implement. And then once you've done all of those, if you've got time, then you can move on to the number 2s and assess the number 2s. So the number 2s are your high benefits but difficult to implement, or low benefits but easy to implement. And that gives you a really quick and easy tool to use whenever you start to feel overwhelmed by all of those amazing ideas that you keep having, but you're struggling to move any of them forward because there's just new ones coming to you all the time, and which one should you do? This is a tool to get out to give you some clear focus and help you make the decision on which one or ones you should be focusing on. So that is your idea overwhelm buster. Your ease benefit matrix, as it's also known as. So now I'm going to move on to the 3 critical steps that you need to have in your business to get some clarity and focus. Because that would be nice, wouldn't it, to have some clarity and focus. So firstly, define your objectives. Yeah. What do you want from your business? And very often, for most of you, if not all of you, this is going to come back to a nuts and bolts number, and it's going to be about how much income do you want to be taking from your business. Get clear on that. Define it. Write it down. If you haven't already, write down what your objective is, and if it's income-based, write down what income you want to be taking from your business each month. Because then when you're feeling overwhelmed and you've got all of these demands and all of these people trying to pull you in all directions, it will come back to this. What am I trying to achieve here? Is this taking me nearer my objectives? Is this helping me to achieve my income that I want to get from this business this month? And if it isn't, it's a say no. So that's the first step you need to take. Second step is be disciplined. Yeah? You know where you're doing things that aren't moving your business forward, don't you? So it's a case of pick yourself up on it and stop doing the things that aren't moving your business forward. Make yourself accountable. You know, an analogy that I often use here is about exercise, and certainly for me personally, one of my objectives, you know, aside from the business, has been around getting fit and taking more exercise. And, you know, I am the person who's got a cupboard full of DVDs, fitness DVDs, and probably some videos in there. I've got the weights, I've got the Fitball, I've got it all. I've got a mini gym probably in my cupboard under the stairs. Do I use it? Heck no, I don't. In fact, I was even noticing my phone the other night, I've got 5 apps on my phone that relate to different fitness things that I've downloaded. And I will confess to you all right now that I have never used a single one of them. Because I know now, although that might be easy to do, if I want to get fit, I know that I can do it at home, I can watch the DVD, I can download the app, I can get up and do my 7-minute workout, whatever, in the morning. But I just don't, and I know that now. So how I achieve my objectives and how I have to put some discipline in place, I sign up for classes and I make myself accountable. So I join a class, you know, I've started running this year, and, you know, I can't run on my own. I wait for my sister to call for me in the morning, and it's only the thought that she's going to knock on the door that gets me to put my running shoes on. If she didn't call for me, those running shoes would not be going on. So it's about putting some discipline in place. And what do you need to do that? How do you motivate yourself? And very often it is about making yourself accountable. So setting out what you want to do to publicly, either to a mentor or a coach or some other support team you have, and getting the support that you need. You know, so whether that's exercise, for me, working in a class and being pushed, whether that's in your business, having someone that you can bounce ideas around with and run challenges by. It's about being disciplined. So our third step then, for getting clarity and focus, work to your strengths and get help with the rest. Because when we're working to our strengths, you know, that's when we're in our zone. That's when we're performing at our best, and that's when we are adding the most value to our business. I speak to so many new clients time and time again who, again, you know, they'll get their to-do list out and they're fed up of doing the admin, they're fed up of doing the bookkeeping, you know, they're answering the phone, they're taking calls during the first meeting with me, and they are absolutely in that firefighter mode. And they are behaving as a receptionist, they're behaving as a bookkeeper, they're trying to be an admin assistant too. And they're not actually doing what they set out to be doing and why they set their business up. And they're not working to their strengths. And when you're not working to your strengths, that's when you start to get fed up. You know? So unless your business is around admin or being a receptionist or bookkeeping, then those are exactly the types of things you should be getting help with and outsourcing or employing somebody to do. You need to be working where you are strong and get help with the rest. Okay, so we've covered what I said we were going to cover at the start. So you should all be taking some notes there and have some actions now to do on how to stop feeling overwhelmed and focus on what you should be doing, yeah? So we've looked at how to move you from being a firefighter to being a chess player type business owner. We've looked at the idea overwhelm buster and how to deal with all those brilliant ideas you have and how to prioritize those and how to identify which ones to dump. And we've looked at the 3 steps you need to take to get some clarity and focus each day. So what are you going to do? Because it's over to you now. We're coming to the end of our webinar. I've shared with you what I can share now in half an hour. So what are you going to do? And my question for you is, would you like to take what I've shared here and take it to the next level? And if you do, then I'm making an offer to you now to book in a half-hour strategy session with me. Now, I have got really limited availability right now because we're coming up to some holidays. I'll be going on holiday, taking some time off, and I've got obviously my existing clients and group programs to service. So after the 22nd of July, I'm not going to be offering any more of these strategy sessions over the summer now. So I have 5 slots available. They'll be on a pretty much first come first serve basis. So if you want one of those slots, then simply email me, alison@alisonbradford.com, and you can book yours now. And in that session, we will get some real momentum going for you. We'll look at where you are now, where you want to be, and we can start working on some of those specific areas that we've talked about in this webinar as well. So whether it's about getting some more clarity on your own big picture, you may want to have some time to really thrash out who your ideal client is and how you can get more of them. You might want to do the idea overwhelm buster session together. We could do that, or it might be about figuring out where you need the help in your business to help it grow and how you can find that help as well. So if you want one of those, simply email me and we will get that booked in. So a final thought, we're coming up to about half an hour now, and I know you're all busy. I don't want to take any more of your time. So one final thought really from me now before we finish is about, over to you. You need to start taking action now to behave more like a chess player in your business, and then you will stop feeling more like a firefighter. Thanks very much for watching and listening, everybody, and have a great week.